All right, let's jump into things. Where we at? 10:53 on 22nd of January, 2025. So starting to see some nice flows sort of come through the market. Yesterday was just it was hectic in the morning. It was I mean obviously sort of I had to sort of almost sort of cut. I think I did sort of just steamroll through the last couple of charts, the copper and the China charts there, just because things were sort of heating up and moving so much. And this is what we love to see, particularly as a sort of in-out sort of trader. These sort of like massive ups, downs, back forwards, like this kind of stuff. This is on the 4 hour here, so I mean, look, more or less does show it, but look, certainly if you get into these low, look at this chop, look, this does not suit the kind of people that want to sort of buy and hold, unless you bought this nice little break back down here that we were talking about the other week and that, and even then, like, geez, not move your stop at all. Maybe move it to break even on the breakout through there, but geez, even so, like it just feels like you're doing great. You got this big move. Oh no, you give it back. Oh, you're giving back even more. Put your stops underneath there. Like it's just, I don't know. It's not my style. It's a bit too choppy for me. And I think unless you sort of really sort of just go, okay, here's my stop down here, and okay, I'll check it in 3 months' time. Well, see how we go then. But anyway, what we're doing is doing the charts, and we're doing them sort of intraday. So back onto the 4 hour to really get a good sort of picture of sort of what's happening with Aussie, because this channel, obviously, if we zoom out a little bit, is our main big channel. Get rid of this one here for whatever it's worth. Just clean it a little bit. This is our channel. Been smacking down on it over and over and over and over again for 3 months, or better part of 3 months in that, and finally got that big breakout the other day on the what was it? The sort of the headlines from Wall Street Journal, sort of saying that we haven't. Let's move this around. That we. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted here. So the headline from Wall Street Journal saying that the tariffs sort of weren't on the agenda or whatever for the day and that. And obviously, look, subsequent from that, we had the break yesterday. That big sort of sell down early was on the proposed 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. Now, I'm not sort of like super up to date with who's trading with what, but from what I have sort of read, that after China, Mexico and Canada are the biggest exporters of their countries into America. So America importing kind of thing. I believe the idea of them sort of Trump and that sort of saying that look, we're going to be doing 25% tariffs, which are very high. Because I'll get to it in a moment, but they've this morning just come out with some talk of potential 10% tariffs on China. So you got to sort of think, okay, well, he was going to do. I mean, apart from the fact he was boasting 60% tariffs on China. Um, Regardless of that, 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico and only 10% on China kind of feels like a bargaining chip. Kind of feels like, okay, he wants to sort of use that as leverage. And the topic with them, obviously, day one closes the border, immigration's a big thing, drugs is a big thing as well. Like, I won't get into the sort of like opinions and viewpoints of all that kind of sort of stuff, but I do believe that that is partly what is at play here. I do believe that that's kind of sort of what he's going for, to use this as a bit of a sort of bargaining chip to sort of go, well, you know, if you don't do something about this, um, this is going to be the repercussions. 25% tariffs, which is obviously big, 2.5 times the proposed ones to China at the moment. He obviously wants them to sort of come to the table, and this is what I was saying sort of the other day, sort of like, well, I mean, it's a bargaining chip with it all. So he has come out guns blazing with Canada and Mexico, and then using that as a potential to sort of dial things back. So, look, I think they'll come to the party. I don't see why they wouldn't. And anyway, that was the reason that we got this big dump down here. I think sort of across the market, they're thinking, well, if you could do 25 base point against Mexico and Canada, what's going to happen when he announces China? And apparently UK as well. I didn't even like this probably goes to show how naive I am on the import export sort of side of things of that, but I didn't even know UK was really making much to export anywhere anyway. But I mean, obviously they must be doing something. They've got industry in that. But yeah, I wouldn't have put them up the top end of stuff. But again, that's probably just shows more my naivety on the subject. But anyway, so that's what caused this big sell down here. And then obviously, as we can see, subsequent sort of bounces up. Then we sort of drifted down through the day. We held the zones perfectly where we needed to. It's always nice to sort of come back and have a look at these things at the zones that you draw out. So it's not hindsight trading. It's just saying, look, this is where these levels, I just put this one in just now, but these are the levels that we were playing off. And this is your breakout level, really. Well, actually, technically, this is your breakout level through here. And obviously, boom, these held, and it just took off that second part through here. So, look, I did quite well, sort of like, you know what I mean? I got out of my last Aussie longs, I think, just before this sell-off down here around this, I think, 80, mid-80s, something like this over here. And then it sort of scaled into a few positions here, out through here, scaled back in through here, and then got out through here. And I didn't capture this last leg through here, mainly just because I'm trying to sort of preserve the capital and that. And particularly while I'm sleeping, I'm trying not to have too much sort of going on. But at the same time, so just keeping an eye on a few things. You've got the new hour ticking over now, so we can see what happens here. But yeah, anyway, long story short, Aussie breakout, back test. Now we're looking for a break of that breakout high. So if we get back onto the 4 hour, I'll give a bit more of a picture. We can see this is the level I just put in as I was talking a moment ago, that this is obviously the level to beat. We can see we've got our breakout candles, we've got our back test. Now we want to put in a higher high to really sort of confirm this trend. We've got a higher high in this sort of sense, higher high. So coming through here, but this is different now because this is a breakout of the structure. We're coming into this previously marked resistance zone, so we know that this is an important area. We zoom right back and that we can see this is the supports from October 23, so it's 25 now. So look, I think sort of it wasn't a surprise. Oh Jesus, I've got these alerts on, and man, they're going blow my head off when they go on, particularly when I've got these headphones on. All right, bear with me 2 seconds. All right, I'm back. So where was I saying? So we got a breakout, boom, boom, boom. It wasn't really a surprise that we saw something to sort of like halt movement through here. Not necessarily like the tariff sort of things. I mean, these things do seem to somewhat come just almost perfect timing for these kind of events, but they move it into these levels before the news or the data, whatever drops, and bang, moves down. Despite that, price is recovering. So if we can get up here and we can flip this 4 hour candle and we push out through the top side here. Yes, we do have these technical levels over here, the top side of this kind of zone, which we can kind of drag this across, which could provide, again, a little bit of sort of a little bit of a stop. I mean, look, that if we put that there, which overcomes the body here. Normally, I would put this. Actually, I will. Normally, I will stick to what I normally do. The body fill over here. So this came within a point of the body fill, pretty much, was it? 88 to 90, yeah, so 2 points of the body fill moving up over here. These two could provide a little bit of resistance. I feel this is kind of tapping in, negating this lot here. You might find something around this zone, sort of this technically being the swing high around 63 main number. This is why I put the alert above this level here. And you can see obviously even sort of 23. So there will be little levels along the way which are gonna, like, it's not just gonna be like one of these candles boom straight up, but the idea here is that oops, the spot. The idea is here that once we get the break, it may be choppy like this, but we keep buying dips till we hit the price targets, then we reevaluate. That's the name of the game with it all. And putting in the higher high with the technical break of the charts, all these kind of things. Like if we actually have a look, I don't know if I've actually done this on this one yet. That this is, obviously our channel. So a channel measure move. moves through here, which comes in line pretty much with these guys. Very much. So that's a channeled measured move through here. So look, I'm going to reduce this down just a little bit. So 64.20. Look, structurally and on a higher time frame, definitely up in here. And I don't want to make it a 30-point price target, but that's going to drip down here just a little bit. This way, top side of the price target is this bottom zone through here. This little high through here, obviously, before it just got smacked back down, measured move of that channel. I think this is it, 64.15 would be the sort of price target we'd be looking for. So certainly, look, there is some room to move with this kind of thing, and it did drag from up there, but from where we are right now, that's still a 2% move, which for Aussie is a decent sort of move. So I wouldn't be surprised if should we get a break above these levels, I'd like to be safe above 63. But I would say that sort of like, that's potentially got the room to move up to the top side over here. And, you're seeing gold testing all-time highs. You're seeing, well, coming into a zone to be able to test all-time highs. Silver's coming back. DXY is on its knees. It hasn't yet sort of broken through, but even as we have a look at this on a lower time frame, it got shook a little bit on this 10%, excuse me, talk of 10% tariffs this morning, dropped 20 points. It's not really doing the same as yesterday when 25%. It was a bit different because this is just, I had a conversation and maybe we think about this. So this is a little bit different in that regard, but it's not melting down over here. The buyers are snapping it up. So, this is a level that I want to see it above 77. We look for the test and, a nice 20, 30 point move, which is 0.5%, up to test 63. 63 is our breakout zone. And okay, now we trade up to our price target, buying dips along the way. All right, flip across, we got gold. Gold's very much grinding up into this zone. And this is just a beautiful trade, this one here yesterday. So, structurally, this has just worked perfectly. We had our resistance point, marked it out. Breakout here, as we've said, look, here's our breakout. Here's our back test into this zone. I bought this back test right here. Of course, I got out a little bit early, right through this zone here, as I harp on about. Not my buy and hold sort of thing, but I'll buy it a couple of times through that move. Well, through all these moves, actually. If you've been sort of following the last couple of weeks and that, we've been buying the whole zone through here, actually through this breakout here, the back test and all the way through up here. But in terms of this last little move here, breakout, back test, held support, bang, up into the next zone. So, look, I'm happy to say, price target hit on that one. Let's just put this back over to here. As you can see, it is really pushing up into here, having a little bit of a pump sort of early in the morning. What are we, 10 past 11 or so now? If this charges, we're coming right into this zone. We've got a little bit of 48 here, but, we're in a sniffing distance of all-time highs. Look, I think sort of once we hear what's actually happening with China, I think this could be potential for the catalyst to get us moving a bit more. So we are seeing it sort of up into this zone. It's no sort of wonder as to sort of why we are seeing this sort of sell down. We'll find a little bit of resistance through this zone here. But, it doesn't mean that, it's definitely going to roll over from here. It is, if we get onto a lower time frame, is looking like a little bit of an ascending triangle up into this zone just through here. So, it is sort of showing that it does want to pop. It just may need that little bit of a oomph catalyst to sort of get it up over the line. But at the moment, it's tipped back down to sort of 80% here, sort of 80 line on the RSI. So it's got room to move it should it want to sort of do the next sort of little flip. 11:10 apparently, so thanks alarm. So look, I would say this is still constructive to be bullish to get a bit of a breakthrough here. And look, if you want to sort of give this, I mean, there's two sort of price targets with this. One, not a super exciting one, which is the depth of the side of that triangle, and two being this one down here, which goes off the last pump, which would give you up to here. So I think they're on a break. They're your two little price targets there. Still want to see something give us some volume to really push out the top here. But you got to think that, like, all these highs that it's going over, there's people that have been short for these, short for these, short for these. What happens when it goes over 50? Maybe a punch up to 61 might sort of, hit a little bit of a headspace there. And look, you know what I mean? At the moment, it may actually not even get through there. So who knows? But certainly, yeah, overall, I would say it's quite constructive and certainly in a bit more of a, it'll still in a bit of a sort of bullish mode with this little triangle coming up here. Let's just put this sideways here. So test the 70s, a little measure move out there, and this one through here. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Obviously, it's coming into a high time frame resistance area. So if it sort of does get knocked back, well, it's no sort of real surprise. So we'll have to see. Again, it's 11 o'clock is when we're probably going to, sorry, 11, 12 o'clock is probably when we're going to see a little bit more sort of volume come into the market and see things push a little bit more. Move along, we got silver. Silver, let's jump onto this one. I'll actually change. No, that's the right chart. So silver, slowly moving along. It's not a full commitment, but if we have a look on, let's put on the 4 hour to get a bit of a better picture, similar to when gold was trying to break out. So we saw gold the other week. When it was, let's just go back and recap on that one. This breakthrough here, we had the falling resistance. We tested a little, stuck the nose out, bang back inside the structure, and then push back out the second time. So this is something that we could possibly use at the moment to sort of see how silver may sort of play out through here, because very similar in the sense of little test outside the structure, push back down inside, and now we're moving back out for this move here. So again, look, this is the move that we're looking for, and it's pretty clear space up along here. I think it's sort of a break along above these highs could see a very close resemblance of what we saw with with gold a moment ago. And that's a 3% move. That's a buck move on silver there. So that's definitely worth an alert there. Breakout candle highs. Let's see if this can replicate this one. This will be a nice one to come back and check in that. Now, this move here as well, this is the general idea, break, bang, bang, whatever. Of course, these things can have internal little structures. So we could see this move up towards it all, like a little back test. That's a little taker, and then we do it like we saw with gold with that breakout overnight. As to where this level comes to, that's any sort of guess with it all, but general structure of it all. But idea is, if we can break and substantially hold, at least maybe a 4 hour above 31, where we've got this alert just now, that's what's going to open it up to 32. That looks like a fairly nice little straight shot down. Bang, there'll be a nice straight shot back up. You got to look at it. Silver is really underperforming gold in terms of sort of price, sort of recovery in that more recently. We've seen it sort of obviously pull back from the highs, same as gold, but gold's equivalent to testing up around here. Silver being at sort of like 33. So it's certainly a lot of work, catch-up work for silver to be done at the moment. Should the conditions tick up and we get metals pumping, you could see silver play a little bit of a faster catch-up. And of course, we do that by having a look at the gold-silver ratio, which seems to be wanting to roll over. I called this right shoulder here, which played out beautifully, came all the way down here, and then true fashion, it just jammed it straight back up over here. So this whole sort of inverted head and shoulders, I feel kind of negates it. Look, technically it doesn't negate it till it takes out this right shoulder, and you've just got a double right shoulder on this sort of thing, but no, look, for me, I'll probably sort of say maybe a bit more of this kind of triangle. I'm not, to tell you the truth, I'm not actually sure with these ones. Do we do the measure move from here, or do we do the measure move from here? I would say probably from the last touch up, which would give us our price target up over here. Delete you. Yeah, I think this would probably be a little bit more realistic just in the interim. And look, it comes into some previous levels that we've got vaguely around over here. I'm not a big fan of this, to tell you the truth, in terms of where this price target is, but it is consolidating. It's actually sort of pushing more up over here. This is why gold is outperforming silver at the moment. But should we break this line down here, which we're going to put an alert on, um, silver to play catch up, should we go through there? I think that could definitely, this would be giving, if we see this move break down and start to move back down in this direction, we're going to be seeing gold on breakouts. We're going to see silver play catch up. That's the main thing. And this would be, yes, your little measurement price target, but I'm not a big fan of this. I think, look, if you break this structure here, I think you're going to go a lot further than this. I think possibly something more like that. I'm going to leave these ones in just because, as I said, I'm not really 100% sure. Like I'm happy to I'm happy to admit that. But by seeing how they play out, maybe I can get a bit of a better idea. Maybe it just negates both of them. It doesn't mean anything. But at the moment, you are seeing a little bit of a consolidation, and you can see that this is, as a structure, moving down, down, down. We're due for a touch up of this bottom line here because it's really consolidating along here. If not, bang, then we'll probably test back up over to sort of 91 or so. But I would say more likely we're going to be sort of heading down to this direction over here. Okay. So yes, that's gold, that's silver, that's Aussie. Let's have a look at the big guy, DXY. And DXY playing well. Absolutely, look at this. Let's retest here, double retest of this line. You can tell when things are perfectly placed, and it's left this light here. It has left a big gap, which is very interesting because remember, where, oh, I can't be bothered going, back over here, over to the left somewhere, there was a massive gap that we left, start of the year or something like that last year. And that's obviously closed now, but took a very long time to close. This has left a big gap up the top over here. But this is what we were saying yesterday. Sort of like, as I said, we got to remember these are structural lines. They're not sort of timeline kind of things, like this sort of thing would be that, which kind of, obviously you can't you can't take anything from that when it's on top of itself. So anyway, so the point is these are structural lines. They're the levels that we're trying to look for. Came up, retested on the side of this rising support, which is the channel, and also the wedge. So we've come up here, we've tested it, it's pushed back down. Negative divergence worked beautifully through this area. What we want to see now is that lower low. It obviously closed like it was coming in for it, but at the last second, it sort of pushed up a little bit. So there is some fight left in it at this level. But as we said yesterday, this is going to be the crucial level. This is going to be the level to beat. If we can see the sellers on the horizontal just absent, basically, if the buyers aren't here, so the buyers are sitting here at the moment, if we see that the buyers aren't here through this whole zone, then this is where we're going for our price target, 105.60, which, again, it's not going to be just one candle down or a couple of candles down. It could be. I mean, look at how fast this thing moved. But more likely, you're going to see, a little bit of a move through here. And that's going to be the idea of, basically sell the rips. So when we do see sort of a little bit of a headline and it says, hey, look, you know what, maybe, the tariffs are going to go ahead, boom, that's when you go, okay, let it play out, let it play out, let it play out, and then bang, sell into it till we get down to our price target. And then we reevaluate once we're down at our price target, where we expect the buyers to be sitting again in this zone over here. So we'll have to sort of see how that one sort of plays out. But yeah, so it comes online kind of 25 minutes, but really you'll start to see the lot of the volume sort of come in about 12 o'clock, so about 40 minutes. And we can sort of work off there, see if we get some headlines. I think yesterday, I can't remember what time it was when we got those headlines yesterday. But yeah, anyway. Let's see how that one goes. At the moment, look, we've broken structure. We've done our retest. We've done our second retest. The market sold into it. Sold into it. I was saying to a mate yesterday when we were trading this, I'm like, look, if I was long dollars up around this zone, and I saw this massive dump down, and it comes back up like this, and I've got a chance to get out for even, I'd take it. I'd go, boom, thank you very much. All right, whatever. Let's take it and reevaluate. What I wanted, this is pretty much exactly what I wanted to do with Aussie, back up at 65, 66, and sort of clear out a few of my sort of positions and reevaluate. But unfortunately, I didn't, and I paid a very hefty price for it. But that's all right. That's the name of the game. So the point now is we are watching this level. So let's put an alert through here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put an alert even just underneath these lows. Doesn't mean a guarantee on this because, of course, we've got these other supports down over here, which you can see, price marked it here. So technically, you'd probably be wanting to get under 107. So I would say even put an alert here and say all lows taken out. Looking for, what was it, 105.60 or something. Price target zone. Technically, you want to be taking out all these lows through here, but to see a little push down into the zone, that first alert from last night would be a nice place, would be a good place to start. All right, so let's tick along. I've got to wait for this to come online before we can see what happens. Copper held the 38 actually yesterday quite well. We can see here a couple of tests into this zone. We're still finding sellers where they had been previously into this little marked out area, and this was the top end of the range, I'm pretty sure, if we have a little zoom back. Bottom end of the range, sort of that big range we were in prior to the election. So the recovery has been immense. And this is what I say about the body fills and that. If you look at these sort of moves down here, perfect example for it. It didn't come up and test the highs of that whole sort of move through there. But this big, large sell down through here, it came up, clipped out that part, and then sold off. So body fills, when you see a large, long sell down like this is a great place to put your targets. This section here, obviously, if you look at this one leg and then two leg down here, this is a good section through here. And you can see market tried to sell it down from that point and obviously overcame that. But yeah, these are certainly things to sort of work with in terms of sort of trying to place your price targets. I bought copper off the 38, so not too bad. Closed overnight. I'm watching to see if it gets back up above this zone here. So let's put an alert on it. Breaking of zone resistance. First target's just going to be back up at those previous highs, back up at say 446. Then your main breakout technically is going to be above 45, but obviously if we take out that high over here, that's going to be another decent one here. But again, I think this would be your price target 447 on a break up through here, which is still going to yield us still a couple of thousand points. It was a decent sell down, 2% give and take. Which is still 900 points. So it's definitely a trade in there for it all. And this, I have a feeling I'm not going to sort of confirm, well, not so necessarily confirm, but I'm not going to jump full in the camp of sort of saying that, hey, you know what, this is the correlation back on strong with Aussie, because that burnt me a little bit last year, to be honest. These expectations of typical sort of correlations, Aussie with risk wasn't working, like as in equity markets going up. Aussie with copper was pumping, Aussie was doing nothing. You know what I mean? You gotta, and this is more just when I say you, I mean me. I have to. Anybody can do whatever they want. Got to look more at sort of reevaluating where you're finding your correlations, because that's the whole point of the market. That you can't work all the time. You can have things that work more often than not, but it doesn't mean nothing works 100% of the time. And yeah, because there's so many factors involved with these things, what are moving the markets, and particularly with the currencies. So it's not just, okay, the copper's going up, so Aussie should be going up. The equity market's going up, so Aussie should be going up, because we saw both of those happen last year and Aussie not move or respond to either of those. So we've got to keep sort of reevaluating. But should we see this start to move back up, should we see Aussie start to move back up, I'm going to be looking a little bit closer for the actual correlations of it to see if that is back into effect. So basically just checking myself and checking the correlations a little bit more often to sort of see if these are going to be are actually sort of worth keeping an eye on. Because if we see copper continue to move up and Aussie unable to break out, I think that's a telltale sign in itself. So yeah, something to keep an eye on. But short term, want to see back up above this zone. We know that the sellers are sitting around here, they're lurking. If we can see a lack of sellers around this zone, then we would like to sort of see a little bit of a push back up towards 446. China came down here in double bottom territory, broke through this medium term zone. Let's put this little area here because you can see as a little zone at the moment. This is where the buyers are sitting. They're being capped by the sellers at this zone here. So we're moving towards first price target. Look, break of the area, gave a good little sell down. Kind of stopped a little bit no man's land. I guess there could have been a little bit of a range sort of through here, which kind of tends to line up with this a little bit. I mean, obviously I'm only just chucking it in now, but I guess you could kind of say there's a little bit of a range to give it. The point being to give some sort of little bit of a reason as to why it stopped here. However, I still think, this price target's going to be a stronger area where we're going to see a bit more of a sort of push back up, if anything. A break of this area is one that I'm really looking for, so I'm going to put an alert on that and say major break. So major breakdown, whatever, breakdown of direction. Should we get under that level, as we know China likes to grind, this is the price target that we're looking for. Not necessarily this level sideways as a price, but this rising support up over here. So that's really the leg that we're looking for. And this is going to come based on the idea that maybe China isn't going to get slapped so hard with the tariffs. That's what's going to get that leg over down here. We're going to see confidence sort of reinstated a little bit with China, and we're going to see things sort of kick back on a little bit on that side of the world. Because for a long time, confidence is super low with China. Look, it's kind of their own making. They kind of blow themselves up. They're not trustworthy. A lot of their sort of data is a bit iffy at the best of times. So, you got to take that stuff with a grain of salt. But we'll see what happens. As I said, first thing is to get to this price target and then sort of watch what happens with that and watch out for what's happening with the tariffs. All right, cool. Flip across to the news quickly. A pretty light sort of week. We had a bit of sort of CAD data overnight. What are they doing? Ticking down with their CPIs. Yeah, right down. Look at that. Common. I'm not quite sure what a common CPI is year on year. Is that the same as core? I'm not quite sure. However, bang, 2%. 2% was the universal target. And then obviously when that seemed a little bit unattainable, they said, okay, 2 to 3%. So, these other ones are obviously sitting in these 2 to 3%, and you got 2% down in here, but again, doesn't really affect us so much. Quarter on quarter with New Zealand, 0.5%. That seems very low. But no, look, they've been around these areas for a little while over here, but still, they're down the bottom side of all that stuff there, and not really anything through the rest of the day, or even through tomorrow. So apart from obviously, sporadic lots of tariff news coming out, there isn't a great deal. I mean, we got normal unemployment claims, a bit more CAD data, up until we get BOJ. And I think this is the thing that the market's looking at the moment as well, because yen's just been weak for so long. The BOJ have flirted with raising rates a few times, but they haven't actually done it. They always get cold feet at the last second. And I think the thing that they were looking for this week was what's going to happen with the tariffs. And if Japan isn't in the firing line, then we could be sort of seeing an actual sort of follow through by the BOJ. So that'll be interesting to watch. And then obviously the week to close out with a bunch of PMI numbers, which we'll sort of keep an eye on through there. But anyway, that's it from me.